Hey everybody, what's going on? So in the last video, I went over with you guys and gals a knot that we use called the emergency knot. And again, to set the scenario, you got a fish on, it gets feisty, it gets tangled up in your other lines. We've all been there, and if you haven't, you're going to be there someday. And you got this big bird's nest of line, and you figure the best thing you can do, well, again, you got two options. One, you can hand line the fish in. And the other option is to cut your line and then try to get them back together to be able to reel it in. So the last video I went over the emergency knot, and that's a way that you can join really about any two lines that you want. Braid to braid works, braid to mono works, lead core to lead core works. You have to take the lead out of the Dacron sheeting or sheathing to get lead core to lead core, but you can tie that knot that way also. The only line that I didn't cover with that was copper, and that knot, if you do it with copper, it'll probably hold, but it's going to be a great big fist of a knot, and I doubt it's going to get through your reel guides and into your reel. So this is what we use on our boat when we have to join two pieces of copper back together. So the fish is on, it's tangled you up. Copper is a you-know-what when it gets tangled. It gets kinked and twisted, and it's all sorts of bad. So a lot of times it's best just to go ahead and cut it and get them back together. And you can do this anytime. If you're bringing in your copper or letting your copper out, and you get a bird's nest, and you get a kink in there where that copper is just bent over on itself, and you want to cut it and repair it, this is a great knot to do that. Super easy also. So I got my two links of copper here. I'm going to overlay them with one another, overlaying probably 2 to 3 inches per side. So on my right side, your left, I'm going to take that tag in, and I'm going to go away from myself. And you can do it either way, but this is the way I do it. So I'm going to go away from myself. Now I'm just going to bring that back around, twist it right back onto itself, going away until I get it all the way down where it's lying, or it's wrapped all the way around that other piece of copper. I'll just twist that around. Now I went away on that side, so on this side, my left, your right, I'm going to go towards myself, so the twists are going in the same direction. It's going to be a lot stronger that way. So again, I'm twisting that around. Again, until it gets all the way back and onto its counterpart. And that is it. That is the knot. And that thing is super, super strong. Oh, one thing I'm going to recommend here, when you're going to tie that knot, have some shrink tubing on the boat. This is just 1/8 inch shrink tubing. We get it from Hickory Tube Works. I have no idea where Hickory Tube Works is, but that's where they get it from here. Anyway, we keep some on the boat. And the reason being is if you're going to use this knot, this overhand twist or haywire twist or whatever it's called, take that shrink tubing and slide it onto one of the ends first before you make that knot. Otherwise, you're going to kind of regret it because it's really tough to get that shrink tubing back on there unless you cut it along the side and feed it back on and then try to shrink it back onto itself, which really, it's a pain in the butt. I'm going to tell you that right now. So keep some shrink tubing on the boat, slide it on one of the ends before you get that knot going. If you forget it, that knot, it's not going to really add any strength to that knot. It's not gonna fail on you, but it makes this thing much cleaner when you take that and shrink it down. So I like to size it for, kind of get an estimate on the size. And I made this knot huge, I know that. It's just more for example and for visual than anything else. But for those of you who have never used shrink tubing before, it's really easy. Work the shrink tubing down over the top of the knot. Watch the burr ends on that copper. I tell you right now, if you're not careful, those little wildcats, they will stick you good, and it doesn't feel good. Shrink tubing just goes over the top of the knot. Lighter, and just a couple quick seconds over the each portion of the shrink tube to bring it down upon itself. I'll go back and I'll kind of pat it down with my fingers, make sure that it's really adhering well, and I'll work that all the way around the knot. Shrink tubing is exactly what it's called. It shrinks. until it really sticks well on top of your line. And that way it feeds onto the reel a little bit easier, goes through your guides, excuse me, goes through your guides a little bit easier, and it's much more attractive, and those ends don't get frayed off on you and you get them stuck in your fingers like I've done a million times and said many, many bad words on the boat. That's it. Hey, if you like what you saw here, consider hitting the like button, consider subscribing. We're trying to put out videos all the time. They're just going to help you guys and gals out there on the water. We enjoy doing that, and we appreciate you guys watching. All right, take care.